Hey, Kurt, are you in here?
Welcome, everybody, to the World of Ability Podcast Network. My name is Emily Gilmer, and am a podcast engineer here, and excited to bring you another episode of Conversation for All with Christian and EC Marketing for All. I've been doing it for the last few months here, kind of all about kind of networking and making connections and so on. So nothing further ado, I'm bringing Christian to kick us off today. So
Yeah,
welcome,
thank you
Christian.
so much. Absolutely. I'm excited about our new podcast, our new network, Conversation for All. Again, thank you for the World of Ability Podcast Network, today's Disability Channel, Project Die Hard, as well as the folks at communitypayitforward.us. And we always want to make sure that we mention and we highlight our mutual connection, Sherry with letsbetrees.org. And I actually wanting to remind ourselves that this is being brought to you and this has come forward in a collaborative spirit, all to raise awareness for our veterans suicide awareness. We want to make sure that, and again, please, this is not for us. We're asking you, 22, did you know that an average of 22 veterans take their lives each day? Let's change that. EC Marketing for All is committed to helping and supporting organizations dedicated together to raise awareness and provide resources for our much needed community members in need, especially to those folks like Kurt, Sherry, and Helpopedia, along with yourself, Emily, that have had this and been doing this for years. And we want to encourage folks and we want to get you guys uplifted. We want to make sure that we're doing our parts. So, what we ask for you to do, and one of the things I want to kind of highlight when we spoke with and Sherry, letsbetrees.org, and some of the things that she's kind of brought to the table. She's revolutionizing funeral and wants to revolutionize the whole funeral industry. What we've set out to do and what she wants to do is it's more of a community-based system where you're able to, instead of go into debt or having to do fundraisers or having to do car washes or other fundraising activities to bring your or to give your loved one a burial, um, we're having to scramble and stress ourselves out and just really kind of make a demeaning type of thing when we're trying to do is pay our respects to our loved ones. So that's one of those big things that kind of hit me just in the last couple of in these last couple of weeks. And with the actual collaborative spirit that we have, I want to encourage folks to get out. Please support a veteran, thank a veteran, our disability or our ability challenge community, our ability accessible community, and our inclusiveness. At EC Marketing for All, we've stood by that and we've made that a cornerstone before it was national discourse. Now we're looking at what we have right now and what we're able to do. We're bringing in some fundraising activities that are aimed for nonprofits. However, just like always, we're bringing on guests that are going to share their stories, share their resources. And I remind folks that your attendance is not an endorsement. We do want to get through and we want to shift through and we want to go through some organizations that continue to be presented, that continue to be shown into a resource. However, it can be dangerous. And I just had a client call me and contact me because somebody went and is using their name that they have legally registered and they're utilizing it without their approval, without their licensing, without that. So I just want to go ahead and again make sure that we highlight our programs or our organizations, the people that are working behind it. And we want to say thank you. And we want to make sure that we're that difference that you want to see in the world. I truly, and I'm going to lean on, if you guys have a LinkedIn, look at Laura Van La Russo. She's an incredible person that is speaking to the whole global community. And it goes back down to kind of being afraid or being not confident, not being sure, being shaken. And that goes back to whatever mission that you have or whatever you've set out to do. You have goals, you have passions. We're here to uplift you. So please reach out to conversation at EC Marketing for All or any of our social media, direct messaging. You can email as well. You can contact, you can DM, you can text message. We're here and we have a good staff that can actually point us in the right direction if we don't have the right tools for you. But again, I highlight this. We work with Brian and project.heart.org, and it was something that was brought to their attention by our team. And it was something that we've been finding that a lot of organizations, they place things on their homepage or on their websites or try to get a website kind of put together for the good of their mission to increase the visibility, for it to increase the mission, for it to have an online presence. But what a lot of folks don't understand is not knowing the basics of a website can actually get you pushed down in the rankings, can actually hurt your organization and the algorithms. If somebody, which a client of mine had reached out and they set up a website and somebody set up a website that was very similar with almost the exact same name, except they had a plural S on the end. Because they were able to set up this website with an S at the end, they themselves had a hard time being trusted in the community. They could not get their foot in the door. They lost clients. They've gone through now legal channels too. And unfortunately, the folks that set this second site up are not in the US. So they're very limited to what they're able to do. So I bring this to an important part because as we would like to do and want and our aim to do, and some of us have a mission to do these great things. We want to make sure that we lean on the individuals and professionals, especially if you have a mentor or folks that are giving you advice, but also to double check that advice, to check that information, to make sure that you have an open line of communication with whoever you're working with and whoever is working with you to make sure that exactly what you're looking for your brand to be established as is exactly what is being shown. That what you're wanting your website and your folks to see, that's exactly what they're seeing. Some of the websites that we work with, they come to us and it's kind of some of these things where there's deadlines. There's a couple of folks that work with us and ADA compliant, if you're not WCAG compliant, and the ADA compliance is very near and dear to us, we've actually been awarded and have been highlighted as accessibility, just accessibility awareness. So ADA is the disability rights, which again is the American Disabilities Act, a law that protects people with disabilities in many areas of public life. And so if your website is not ADA compliant, if your website is not WCAG compliant, then, and let me go through WCAG is just Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. So this helps folks, or it's supposed to be guidelines since 2021 that has been in law that make websites more accessible. Now, WCAG is a voluntary standard. However, the ADA is not. At the end of the day, whether it's voluntary or whether it's compliant, where you have to be by law compliant, if you're sharing it with our communities or really with anybody in the globe or with anybody in the world, and they're not able to access it or they're not able to plug into their systems to be able to vision impaired, or some of the folks that have other visions or ADHD, they're not able to access your website. They're not able to get involved. They're not able to take that call. They're not able to support you. But more in all, what is your community? What is your organization? What are you telling our communities? Let me ask you, Emily. I've gone in and gone into this. Come on in, introduce yourself. I guess Kurt's not in. We just have his note taker, so that's okay. Emily, come on in, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you got going on. I know we have some great events coming up. October 24th, we're gonna have a couple of hours that we're doing that. Emily, thank you. Is getting that restreamed.
We also, Christian, we do also have Alan here too.
Yeah,
Um,
I was gonna bring him in next. Thank you.
but so just so they know, we have a few events coming up. One already next week. Um, connected with Easy Expo platform, which is a virtual booth platform to help promote you and your organization. With videos, your logo, links, and so on. So it's like a booth at a conference. You can log in as an attendee, see at other booths and so on. So we're having an event next Thursday, and on December 5th from noon to 6 Central, 8 or 10 to 4 Pacific. Um, demoing that platform as well as having some speakers. Um, so if anybody's interested in that, please let us know. Also, we're connected with somebody out of Florida, who's doing a Jerry Lewis type telethon on December 15th. And then we also are having a 37 or connected with a 37-hour holiday event, between December 24th through the 26th. So if anybody's interested in any of those things, please let us know. Back to you, Christian.
Awesome, awesome, Alan. Take yourself off mute. Definitely come in and introduce yourself. And as we start talking about that, I want to know. I know EC Marketing for All will be at the Biz Expo, so thank you for that. That's a big reminder. We're definitely going to be speaking. We definitely have a couple of offers, some premium offers that we have set aside to better support all of our communities. So we're having a huge discount on websites, but we're also going to be contributing for the smaller business websites. We're contributing $500 to any charitable organization of your choice or any one of our projectdiehard.org, FamilyShieldPro.com. No, I'm joking, but we got some vendors and some folks that are connected to that. CommunityPayItForward.us, Helpopedia, or today's disability channel, or again, the organization of your choice. So we're going to be giving back on every website. We're going to be giving back. And then every person that does referrals, we're going to also be giving them 10%. So we want to make sure that the company that wants a website gets a phenomenal supported website and includes for a year, that our charitable contributions get $500 back into it, and that the person that referred it to us or organization that referred it to us, that they also get 10%, so they're not left out. How does that sound, Mr. Allen? Come on in, my brother from another mother. What you got going on today?
Well, all right, all right. I hope you can hear me. Thank you. Welcome to Conversation for All. Thank you for allowing me to be here. And like you shared with it, I am the Master Connector, specializing in community, moving forward of collaborating, connecting, and networking. And yes, as a veteran of this great country, support 110% veterans. Definitely support the disability community and the ability community. Love to collaborate, connect, and I'm glad to be here today and supporting it. FamilyShieldPro.com is kind of a site that is a brainchild with the support and the dedication and the passion and the heart and soul of Mr. EC Marketing for All. He doesn't do enough justice, Mr. Christian Mendezand. Love you, brother. Having a community event that is going on, put together. If you check on my Get With Me, you'll learn about this next Saturday, October 26th. Another young lady that I just had the honor and privilege to meet over through Kurt and Emily, who's putting together a family music festival that is right here in California. For those who are listening on the airways, if you can help us promote it, just here to support us and figuring out events that bring unity together and awareness and support. Above all, being kind to each other, as Christian always says, and as we say, it's Conversation for All. So just here sitting in the back to support you and appreciate everything that you're doing in changing the world, making a difference especially for those with abilities and veterans around the world. And that back to you, Mr. Christian. Love you supporting this Conversation for All and just having those conversations we need to have. Back to you, sir.
Thank you. Absolutely. You know, I was at one of Laura events again, Laura event, and if you guys haven't looked her up, she's on LinkedIn. She's got some incredible overcoming obstacles, and I think that whether she had an event today, I was fortunate to attend. Also, big shout out to at Margaret with the Unforgettable You LLC. And so I just want to make sure when I speak of folks or when we talk about other people, and this is reflective to myself as well, I see some of the struggles in others, and I can go ahead and encourage them in regards to where they're at. And I think that that's the biggest benefactor from building a community. In regards to holding myself not just accountable, responsible, but also with a loving and kind heart, I don't speak to that. I live to that. Because nowadays, we come from an old school mentality where talk is cheap, and if your actions don't back what you're saying, then we used to say, Alan, my brother from another mother, don't write checks that you can't cash, right? And these were teachings, as Alan has said, that have gone away from a lot of this generation and the new generations that we are seeing. But they've also correctively have been removed. However, they have not been replaced. And so now we have folks that think, well, you can't discipline somebody because you don't want to do to them what the disciplinary actions that were taken upon us. Right, Alan? So we talk about a little bit about the foster care system and about some of the stuff that we've been around in our communities. I know in the Hispanic Mexican community myself, it was just a whooping every time, man, and it was abuse. Let's call it what it is. Let's face it for what it is. And the disciplinary and some of the things, some of the threats and things of, if you don't get in by this time, or if you don't do this, and you get a spanking, you're gonna get a whooping. You've talked about big unk in communities like ours is important because there wasn't that father role. So somebody else in the community, we always looked out for somebody else to be that father figure. So I always tell folks, and I always share with folks, especially that come on or that I have conversations with, what is it that you're showing your folks today? Because everything that you're doing, whether it's underhanded comments or just kind of a bad attitude, that's exactly what you're teaching and you're feeding the world. And that's exactly what you're going to get back. And we're not going to make a change in this global anything if we don't realize that. So we can still be big unk. And that's one of the Big Brother organizations. So maybe we can start a big unk organization. But I want to make it with big unk, with tough exteriors, tough interiors, but also with the loving hearts. See, the reason why and chime on in as you wish, Alan, but the reason why we've grew up tough and we had to grow up and get tough and have an exterior that's tough is because this world wasn't nice and cute in the 80s or the 90s. Not that it's anything better, folks, but if you don't do anything about it, then you can't expect for it to get better. I had a big conversation with a client of mine, and her breakfast consists of 4 cigarette packs, 3 Red Bulls, and her day, actually, I say her day. And I say to her, in a loving, kind way, how are you feeling? Because she's told me she hasn't been feeling well. And I said, those cigarettes and that Red Bull and that heightened sense of anxiety and energy and all of these chemicals in your body, that's not going to help make you feel better. She didn't tell me to shut up. She didn't tell me to mind my own business because it was spoken from heart. And this goes back to the community, and this goes back to who we serve. And this goes back to watching what we say. And if we're saying it with kindness, with love, and out of reverence, and out of real care, then if there is a misunderstanding, it can be spoken about. It can be talked about. It can be discussed. It can be viewed from two different perspectives, and it can be valued from two different perspectives without the other one having to break down or having to meet in the middle. Two folks can have opposing positions and visions, and that's just what they're going to be. We don't need to convert anybody. We're not here to cause anybody more headaches or anything else. If we're here to serve, then let's see where we can best serve folks at. Not critique, not chop down, not kick down, not talk or anything, right? And again, if we're gonna be big unk, I'm a big unk to my nieces and nephews, goddaughters, and godchildren because it took me a long time to have my own. But that doesn't make me any less or make me any more. I simply have a caring heart, and big unk, Alan. What are your takes, and what would that have meant if you would have had a big unk like you're wanting to do now and how you're wanting to behave now? What difference would that have made in your community, in you?
Well, thanks, Christian. You know, that would have made much of a maybe an acceleration of where I am today. But as in the Black community, they always say, "Don't cry over spilled milk." And these days you gotta kind of watch the milk to support the prices and everything. But to kind of go to your point and to add on, you know, always joke around and thanks for Christian. I call myself big on, but what I mean in all sincerity is we have to make sure as a direct reflection of who we are as a whole, and make sure we're kind to one another and make sure we check in, because a lot of times, and I love this conversation for all on Fridays, because you never know what direction it's going to take. And we're real, we're raw, we're uncut, and we do it. Christian knows that, I saw the text earlier this week when the emergency, and just wanted to just say very transparent. Hopefully, I'm sending you all prayers and love and support with your beautiful family. Hope everything is okay, because that Big Uncle and Alan raised in Compton, in area, no matter where they're in California, Wisconsin, or across the world, we always want to check in with each other, make sure everybody's okay. Because sometimes it's not the hidden things that we don't see, it's the actions, like you say. But sometimes we can feel, even if we're not sitting next to each other, it's an amazing kindred spirit that I've known Christian for 4 months. For those who are listening to all this, but I feel like I've known them all my life, because we've got each other's back. We grew up in the same parents. And for those out there who are living and daring the dream, understand that we've got you. This is a mission. This is not something we do part-time. This is full-time, all in, all hands on deck, and using a little bit of skills from my veteran background as 13 Bravo and a proud, honorable discharged U.S. Army veteran, to the streets of Compton, to the streets of Oceanside, to across the world, of over in Wisconsin, or even with the world, that in Los Angeles, with this community music festival next week. We're all in this together. And as a proud and honorable supporter of the Disability Channel and the World of Abilities, and had a great meeting this morning with Kurt and Emily on some projects. We're helping to change the world, and we got to take care of the kids, because each one of us has a gift, have an idea, has a passion, but we got to start with actions and boots on the ground by supporting each other's dreams and vision, and do it with kindness and honorable and humility.
Yeah, one thing that I was taken back, and one of the reasons why we did want to pivot to this conversation today, is I actually was listening, and it was part of marketing. What the big brands, what these big corporations have already set aside, and what they use to market to the youth, to children, what it is that they use to market to the children. And so it's impacting. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys take over. Thank you so much. Today's a 30-minute episode. I want to leave it on that because I want to make sure that we continue to grow. I want to make sure that we're also courteous of everybody's time. And I want to invite folks in and I want to invite folks on so that we can lift your missions and encourage one another as we speak, as we go, as we take a time to reflect on what we're doing, on how we're doing things, and what that actually means today. What is it that how is it that we're behaving? What are we teaching or what are we reflecting out to the world? What is it that we show people? What is it that we're letting people know that we represent? What is it? How is it that you act? How is it that you react? How is it that you carry your flag? Whose flag? What flag? And what are you carrying around? And with what attitude? So, with that being said, definitely join us next Thursday and next Friday as well. But next Thursday, the Easy Biz Expo that Emily and a couple of our other partners are going and doing. I thank you so much for that, and see you guys very soon.
God bless.
So let's see, thank Ellen and everybody for tuning in. And again, we are here next Friday. And again at 2:30 p.m. Central, 12:30 Pacific, and we'll have to have everybody join us as a guest. And so just let us know, and we'll have to see everybody next Thursday. Yeah, as Christian said. And I'll have to have everybody check out our social media. LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, so on, and check out the different organizations that we're working with, like all the great work they're doing, like J Story and Disability Channel, or in Swingate Studios, Jack Clayton of the Pack Channel, Marcus Hart of Transform Media, and Earl Williams of the Midwest Plainsman Podcast. Great work they're doing. But until next week, hope everybody